Are you already pretty intuitive? You've been feeling things your whole life, maybe. You've been really feeling them a lot stronger lately. And yet there's still a lot of hesitation around whether or not you're going to follow your intuition, let anybody know you have it. You're going to share it. You're going to hide it. Because the truth is, over the last decade, and especially since COVID came and hit the planet, our intuitive faculties have been activated collectively because we need them. We are entering a new era, and we are fully in it now, where we are no longer going to be collectively simply following external authority. So these intuitive faculties that we possess naturally have been coming online. Some are people like me who have had it your whole life, very sensitive, very aware. Maybe some of you have been extraordinarily intuitive, but you haven't enjoyed the experience because you're feeling everybody's bellyache, everybody's stress. Like if someone's not happy, you might as well be crying with them because you feel their sorrow. That kind of enmeshment energy is part of your intuition. Or maybe you tend to be an intuitive who only scans and it tends to dial into trouble. These kind of intuitive faculties arise in people because their instincts are really protective. Or maybe you have intuition about what is possible and you're absolutely right about it, but you're not grounded in understanding those possibilities are really probabilities and require grounded commitment and follow through. For example, I have a client who said, I was dating a guy and he was just perfect for me. Everything about us was just perfect. We dated for years. We lived together off and on. I just don't know why he would not make a commitment, and now we're broken up again. So she was right. Intuitively, they were a good match, but she was failing to see his free will and availability to commitment was just not there. And anything she had asked him over the years in terms of, self-awareness or self-reflection or a way to deepen their communication, he didn't go for it. So she was intuitively reading the probability, not the reality of his free will choice to just stay stuck where he was. That's another highly common intuitive faculty that isn't bearing out in a positive way. There's a lot of people who are very intuitive, but they want to shut it down because they're afraid they're going to be haunted by intrusive ghosts and beings that scare them. And that also is a big block, unfortunately, because nobody's going to intrude on you. You have angels and guides and support system, and even the idea that exists scares people when in fact it should reassure you and let you know that, of course, we're all divinely connected, both horizontally and vertically. We are connected. We have angels there. Everybody talks about angels because everybody's now spontaneously experiencing them. And they are powerful beings. They're not just little cupids with arrows. They are powerful beings, and people are feeling that. But why be scared? Just say, I didn't know that existed. It's like being scared of everything on the other side of the door and assuming that was what is not in the physical realm is threatening. It's not. So you can check with energy and vibration. But if you are awakened intuitively, has it ever occurred to you that you could develop this to be a very helpful, life-changing for yourself, but for others as well, service, that you could actually develop your intuitive faculties to the degree that you can help others start to trust themselves, that you could facilitate others learning to follow their own inner guidance? Can you imagine the peace this world would start to experience if more and more people who were energetically grounded and perceptive and read the energies correctly could help avert trouble and sorrow and illness and disappointment by helping the people by guiding people to make better decisions? Well, that is what we call being gifted. And I am training people to be gifted certified coaches, but gifted in a way that you're grounded, intuitive facilitators and transmitters of higher frequency. So it's not just let me tell everybody what to do. God, no, that's not interesting, nor are any of us responsible, nor should we, nor do we want that. That's oppressive. But if we could be clear enough to help other people become clear, have you ever thought that maybe that might be something you're called to do? And certainly could be very rewarding, because I truly believe in this age of intuition, everybody has to relearn how to listen to their guidance. Everybody has to reacquaint with their inner faculties and reframe them in a way where they're useful and positive and desirable. We need teachers, we need guides, we need facilitators, we need people to say, yes, everything you've heard about ignoring your inner guidance was a mistake. Listen to your inner guidance and then sharpen the dial so what you're hearing is accurate. Have you ever had an experience where you had a vibe and you were somewhat accurate but not completely? If that's the case, please write in the notes below, because this is a learning step in the learning curve. That we do have to learn. I went through master training with master teachers who kept saying you're in the ballpark, but not good enough. To just sort of get a vague feeling isn't helpful. Tune in. What are you actually experiencing? What is actually happening? And you don't need to get hung up on being right. You need to get hung up on tuning in. Well, don't get hung up on anything, but you want to dial in so that what you're tuning into, you are accurately interpreting. So start by asking yourself, what would interrupt accurate interpretation? Well, bias, of course. I have a friend who said, I'm really thinking, my intuition keeps saying to move to this other town, but everybody knows that town doesn't have any good real estate, and the general community and population is pretty not very evolved. And I said, well, I don't know that. What do you mean everybody knows? You're given good guidance about how to find the kind of investment you want, but your projections and the accumulated dust of opinions of others is clouding your ability to follow your vibrations. And in fact, he ended up going to that town and buying a house because it was a strong vibe, and he wasn't finding one anywhere else. Came back a couple years later and said, it's a beautiful community. I don't know what I was talking about. I had a really strong opinion about something I knew nothing about. So that interferes. I have to do a lot of unlearning to be a good receiver of intuitive guidance and a good channeler of it for others, and helper to others to activate their own. Fear, although fear is subsiding, it's the fear that, and here's a big obstacle that you want to get rid of is, and I've heard this so many times, is I don't want to be responsible for others. Well, the truth is you're not ever responsible for others unless they're your children, and that's until they're adults. But you want to be responsible to others by being grounded and clear. So you're not going to tell others what to do, just what you're experiencing energetically, not what someone else needs to do. Nor can you force anyone else to be sensitive to experience something they don't want to know. I had a client, she said, my sister is in a bad marriage and I know her husband is doing a lot of things that are illegal. I know it. I know that he's doing illegal things with money in their business, I know it with every bone in my body, but I don't want to meddle. I don't want to get in and start something I can't finish. So she didn't tell her. And then, in fact, he did get in trouble for misappropriating funds, and he was in real estate, and he used his mortgage escrow money, and he used it for himself, and all kinds of things that in the real estate world were absolutely not legal. And he got in trouble for it, but because they were in business together, she also was named as one of the defendants in a legal case. So would it have been helpful to say you might check into that a little more without being accusatory? So it is nuanced, and it isn't black or white or all or nothing, but just like listen, you can hear something, but are you hearing accurately? You can see something, but are you really noticing everything there? You can touch something, but have you ever felt something in your hand, but you didn't really feel it because you're distracted? Like, where are my keys or where are my glasses when they're right here? You're holding on to them. So we are in an age of bringing on more senses, and they are our divine senses. They connect us to our guides and higher self, but we have to learn. We have to learn how to sharpen them so they work for us and give us power, huge power, because they give us the power to make the best decisions. They also give us the power to connect with our guides and higher self. So we get vantage points and perspectives that our more subjective egos will never, ever have access to. It's like having a helicopter above you showing you what's around the corner that you simply can't see right in front of you. Why would you live any other way? It's just like when people collectively discovered the world wasn't flat. And they needed a lot of pioneers to get in ships and go explore that round world we had no idea existed. Those pioneers to take the rest from behind, say, follow me. I'm going to help you expand your world to a new world. We're very much in that same feeling. So put in the comments below, are your faculties working? Are you listening? Are you recognizing their value? Do you still treat this as weird and woo-woo and whoa and better hide it? Because it's time to leave all of that behind and instead claim these faculties as your new gold. For example, if you are a highly perceptive empath and you're very perceptive about seeing patterns and connecting the dots, you would make a great therapist. If you're very highly perceptive in how you see pathogens in the body, you might be a great doctor. If you are highly perceptive in reading the energy field, you can become a gifted intuitive guide and coach. Very much in demand, helpful to those who haven't quite awakened or can't quite understand what's going on, and empower them. It is time to reframe our intuitive faculties as something out of the box and woo-woo and left field and start seeing it for what it is. The number one in demand required skill for humanity to grow and evolve, both personally, communally, evolve with their relationship with the planet, evolve with the universe at large. It is the central faculties we need, and those who develop and possess them to a high degree, you are being recruited. You are being called forward because your time has come. You'll know. And if this is like, nah, it's not for me, trust that. Don't give it a second thought. Don't hash things over and over in your brain. Trust your vibes. Trust your vibes. So put in the chat the way your vibes are working and take a look at that and see if you can sharpen that up. See you next week.